Tēnā korua, ko wai kōrua anō nei hapu, me tā kōrua, a kōrua marae.
Tēnā tātou, ahau ko Eru Kapa-Kingi, tōku ingoa. Me mehe nei te kōrero, ko Ngāpuhi te iwi, ko tā Hawai te hapu, ko tā Hawai te marae. Mā tahi mokopuna, nā hongi mokopuna, nā te moitahitanga, tana tamahine, a hari a torongo mai, ia Hono heke pōkai, nā ka puta, ko mātou ko te whānau heke, noho ana ki roto o whangaroa, anei, ko te mokopuna, ngā mokopuna, a tērā aitanga, te mihi atu nei. Kia ora tātou, ko ku whakapapa ko era whakapapa tonu, engari ko tōku ingoa, ko Heemi Kapa-Kingi. Tēnā tātou.
Tēnā korua. Nau mai, ki te wēne nei, he kapu kōrero, he kapu whakaaro o a tātou iwi o Ngāpuhi me ki, engari te pātai tuatahi e aru pēnei ana. As Uri of Ngāpuhi, what do you want to see from Ngāpuhi in the next 5 years?
Pai tērā pātai. For me, in terms of what we can achieve in 5 years, which is really like, from a Māori perspective, a blink of an eye, hanga poto tērā. But I think in the next 5 years, a focus for us as Ngāpuhi can and should be reclaiming the kōrero of our whakapapa, but also bound up in that is our kōrero around our rangatiratanga, our mana and our sovereignty, because that is directly connected to our health, well-being, and our ability to thrive on our whenua kio. And I say we can achieve that quite easily in 5 years because the kōrero isn't actually that complex. In my own mahi, I get quite hoha with this title of tiriti expert, you know, oh, that's the tiriti expert. I'm like, well, expert in something that's not even that hard. And honestly, we all can and should be tiriti experts, especially if you're Ngāpuhi, because we're the architects, inventors of he hakaputanga kātahi, te tuakana, nā, te tiriti kārua, te teina. No reira, I think we need to reclaim and re-own that space as the kaipupuru of the tapu of e la kawenata, e la pepa, e pupuru ana I te mana Māori puta I te motu. So, Ngāpuhi, ko tātou tērā.
One thing I've learned certainly through this roadshow and certainly the time I spent here in Tāmaki is just how expansive we are as a people, and we to really draw on the sheer number that we have. Biggest iwi in the universe. Biggest iwi in the universe.
Literally.
So I think building back that narrative, building back those connections to our whānau who aren't necessarily based in Tātai Tōkero or based here in Aotearoa, to try to draw them in and bring in their skills, because if we do take that ringa kaha, if we do take those assets and benefits from being from Ngāpuhi and apply all our skills to a single cause, I think would be unstoppable. In terms of a 5-year turnaround, I'd really like for us to push to have as much of our own mana motuhake, our own capacity to serve our people within ourselves. So whether that be health services, whether it be justice, whether it be education, that funding aligns with our goals to do it for ourselves. I think that the leadership that's coming now is very well geared to doing that, or at least starting the conversation for what can happen in 5 years. But that's certainly, I think, the changes that will happen with that time span.
I look at how is it that we can move forward on these two, you know, on your whakaaro. So if we think about our reanga now, right? Because whitu tekau pahiniti o Ngāpuhi kei raro I te rua tekau ma whitu, te Pakeke, right? And so if we think about our reanga, how can we be movers and shakers to make these two whakaaro come to life?
I think we need to challenge the whakaaro around rangatahi kind of being added to the kaupapa and helping the kaupapa, because I don't think that actually achieves anything. It's a little bit decorative actually, Kio, and doesn't...
Tokenism.
Tokenism. Like you see them, there are rangatahi forums everywhere, but they're forums that just kind of share their whakaaro now and then. But in terms of who's holding the reins, holding the steering wheel, it's not us. And my biggest wero is to actually the reanga above us to, one, trust and believe in us. Don't use us as tokens and give us the steering wheel, give us the reins, because we have the energy, we have the capacity. And I'm not saying that they should then just go have a cup of tea and you know, waiho tātou, kia tātou anō, there's still a role there. Mā koe te tiro ko te reanga, ko te reanga ko wari taringa, ne? Ko te reanga, yeah, they're the generation that, yeah, will twist our ears or when we're maybe starting to digress or not stick to our principles and our tikanga. Pai ana tērā. But the best position, I think, kia kōwari ngā taringa o te tangata no muri tata I aia, ne, no tana tuara e rangi anō ki au tukua, tātou, kia mahi I te mahi. E mea ana te kōrero a tō tātou tūpuna tonu, a o tātou tūpuna tonu I Hawaii, te hurupango, hana tū e haere. No reila, me mutu te tuku I a tātou ki te taha, ki wainga pui ngā mahi, we need to be anchored and centralised in the mahi and actually making meaningful decisions.
I think in realising, admitting that our younger generation are kind of stepping forward, there has to be an admission that from our pakeke and from our older generations that they have to step aside, which might be a little bit uncomfortable to admit and to want to relieve some of those positions. But in saying that, by doing so, I think we can only grow as our iwi, and I think we can only grow as in terms of the ambitions and things we seek. Like, to put it in perspective, I think it might have been Hone Heke at the time, but they were leading battalions at 23 years old.
No.
So if that was what we've done historically, what's stopping us from doing that now? I still value, though, the integrity of picking the right person to do these things, despite the age. The preferentially younger person, I think they bring new ideas and more kind of courage, I guess, and more bravery in trying to really push for something new. So if we are wanting to do that, it does mean we also have to let stuff go as part of that process. So yes, so I'm encouraging the generations to step forward, but I'm at the same time also asking our older generations to step back.
Yeah, and adding to that, like, it's not it's not an attempt to disrespect our parents, our grandparents. In fact, ki taku titiro, it's the opposite. The way we pay the greatest respect to the mahi that they've done and the way that they've grown us as a generation is we utilise the taonga that we've received and been privileged and lucky to receive because of their mahi, because of their efforts.
Tētahiwanga pātai is that how would you like to participate?
Yeah, pai
For me, put me in there. Put me in there.
Really, coach?
Take me in, coach. For me, personally, my dream has always been to come back home, Āpiti Taitore, and work. And so I think in terms of an active role I'd love to take is to do my clinical psychology up in Kaikoura, to do my clinical psychology into Taitore Whānui, to service our people. And so in terms of taking an active role, because koe tētai atu wāhi hōhatanga ki au, anui te hehea, anui te tono ki ngā mea, engari anō te tai atu me ngā ringaringa me ngā waiwai ki te tautupui te kaupapa. So as much as our whānau are seeking and demanding things that we need, it's me tai atu me tētahi koha, me tai atu me tētahi taonga to go to these spaces and go to these types of ambitions and these types of kaupapa with ready hands to play a role. And so in terms of so going back to the kōrero, I just want the stuff that I'm doing now to be applied inside the communities that we're wanting to service. So in terms of my role, I'd love to just do anything in whatever capacity at this point, just to help our people.
Kia ora.
Yeah, tautoko. Going back to the kōrero I said right at the start, I guess my purpose, my passion and my lane is around the education of our rangatiratanga, the whakapapa of our rangatiratanga, and through that empowering and inspiring our people. And so, I guess I should have probably hit up Auntie Mo ages ago, but a sort of roadshow like this, and reminding Ngāpuhi of why we are rangatira and why we are sovereign, going across the motu, Aussie maybe. No, that's, I'm happy, man. Just book it in and I'm there. Mahi runga I te aroha, māma tērā.
Definitely food for thought for our people. That's for sure.
Mihi ana kia koutou, mina, he goes, proud of us. Yeah.